We're live.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Knights of the Turntable podcast, episode 7. I am your host, Charles Profect Singletary, and with me, I have our incredible guests. First off, we have Gary Swaby.
Hey, what's good? Good to be back.
We've got Matt Dean.
What up?
And we got Joe Hova.
Yo, what's up?
Word. I think this is the first time we've done consecutive weeks since it started. Maybe.
Yeah, we've been pretty bad about that, haven't we?
Schedules have been a little nutty, but I think we're getting into a rhythm as long as I survive the part where I move down to Texas, so we should be all right. But let's go ahead and jump right into things, man. We've got a good bit to talk about, but we're going to start off with where we left off last time with Matt getting to listen to Mick Jenkins' free tape, The Waters. He's going to give us his review or his take on it.
I'll probably write something at some point here pretty soon, but oh my god, that was, I don't know what the fuck they're putting in the water over in Chicago, because there are so many great MCs coming out of there right now. You got Chance, you got No Name Gypsy, who I've been listening to a lot this week, and of course you got Mick Jenkins, and that tape was absolutely incredible.
Water more important than gold.
Yeah, that track was amazing, but then just even conceptually, like you have all these really deep bass sounds, and it almost feels like you're submerged underwater throughout the entirety of the record. It just stays really consistent. He uses all these really good water motifs, and water can mean, depending on the track and the time that he uses it, water can mean a variety of different things, from enlightenment to destruction, the nature of water and what it can do. And it was just, if you look at it first glance, especially if you don't listen to a lot of hip-hop, you might initially want to write it off as just another, kind of quote-unquote hood record or regular old, just run-of-the-mill hip-hop. But it's not. There is something absolutely incredibly special about this gentleman. And I can't call him anything but, because he's absolutely just a top-notch gentleman. He is incredibly intelligent. You can see that from not only the conceptual, how conceptual the album is, but from his construction too. Like, dude just drops lyrical genius after lyrical genius, and most importantly, he says something. He has a consistent message throughout the entire record that just, it flows, it jives, and it moves. It moves like water.
Word. Were there now? I can agree. The entire project is very solid. I've been listening to it nonstop. As soon as I hop in my car, first thing that plays. Were there any specific tracks that stood out to you?
The title track was definitely one that hit it for me. I also really liked Martyrs. The first line on that, Shorty says she doesn't deal with fakes, but the same bitch gotta weave. Lost my shit. Like, I thought that line was, that whole thing was great. Healer, I think, is also really good.
The girl on there, if I'm not mistaken, John Doe's on there. Jean Doe.
Yeah, John Doe. Yeah, Jean Doe.
Yeah, she's got a project coming soon, I believe, and she's from Chicago as well. And I found out about her through Sable.
Now, I will say, Comfortable, I liked the track, but then I thought No Name's verse was probably one of the weakest No Name verses I've ever heard. Yeah. It was like, you go listen to some of her mixtape shit, and the level of stuff that she drops on, even go listen to her featured verse on Chance the Rapper's Lost off of Acid Rap.
Oh, that verse is incredible.
That verse is incredible. It's not quite up to the same level. This album does take a little bit of time getting its stride. Shipwrecked is really good. THC is also good, but it certainly doesn't get me high. It almost sobers me up. Like, it's a good track. But then you hit the back half of this record. You get into Vibe and Jazz and Blackstreet, and even like Drink More Water. The record just takes off and keeps going, and it stays at a great pace, and it's one of the best mixtapes I've heard in a long time. On a side note, I don't know what the fuck is up with this dude in ginger ale. Like
I was just about to ask. I haven't been able to decipher that at all.
Maybe he just really likes ginger ale. To me, what it might mean, because you'll notice a lot of times, like he'll never champagne shallow. There's ginger ale in my cup or something like that, and then he also says ginger ale for your hose, right? Which is a play on word, right? You know, ginger ale for your hose. Yeah. I honestly think he's playing. I think he genuinely probably likes ginger ale, but I think he's playing on the concept of you know how you hear a lot of rappers, you know, make plugs for their favorite liquor or their favorite poison, essentially, right?
You know what? That is a good point.
And I think that conceptually he uses that as kind of just his little fuck you at mainstream rap, his little tongue-in-cheek jibe at what mainstream rap is. You know, they can keep their Hennessy, they can keep their all that shit. Mick's just gonna drink his fucking ginger ale.
He's gonna get that Canada Dry endorsement.
Get that Canada. I actually like Canada Dry too. But most of the time, if you notice, he does make a couple Canada Dry references, specifically in Canada Dry, but he makes probably 20 plus references to ginger ale throughout the entire record.
Yep.
There's a lot. But most of the time, it's not any sort of brand. I don't think he's doing it for brand recognition. You know, I don't think he's doing it for anything of that sort. Like, this isn't ICP drinking their Faygo, right? I honestly feel that he's trying to kind of make a tongue-in-cheek jab at what, you know, the state of hip hop and especially liquor plugs. You know, talking about drinking specific types and brands of liquor.
No, that's pretty dope. Because I was always thinking or wondering when I was listening to the project what the whole ginger ale thing is, and that makes a whole lot of sense, and it would fit a lot of the things he's done, you know, on that project lyrically. So that was a great review there, sir. Clearly you recommend it. Clearly.
I especially since it's free 99, just go listen to that shit.
Word up.
If you haven't, just do it.
Yeah, dope. But let's go ahead and jump into the next topic. We're going to talk about a couple of projects that came out recently. We have Jeezy's The Autobiography, Seen It All, and we have Rittz, which is, I'm drawing a blank. What's the name of that project again?
It is called Next to Nothing.
Next to Nothing, that's right. We'll start off with Jeezy's project. Me personally, I don't have so much insight on it because I couldn't even finish listening to it. I started about 2 hours before we started this, and it kind of just, like, I tried to focus on it, just sitting here with my headphones on and everything, but it kind of just blended into the background and became completely irrelevant to me, and I was just like, I'm hoping that the other guys listened and gave it a more in-depth listen to it. I know Joe had listened to it, but it doesn't sound like anything out of the norm for Jeezy. And it just didn't stand out. Like, nothing drew me in, really. But I will let Matt speak on it first.
You know, actually, can I pass it off to Joe first, and then I'll go after him? I'm kind of curious to see what, because he's definitely more of a Jeezy fan than I am. So I'm interested to see what he has to say, and then I'll follow up on it.
You okay with the spotlight here, Joe?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Actually, you know what's funny is I wrote a piece on this on Redefined, and I compared Jeezy to a contract player, like an athlete in a contract year, because he only seems to show up every 3 or 4 years with a good album.
He's on a long cycle, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been out since 2005, so this is about his 10th year making music. So yeah, you can check that out, redefined.com. So good plug right there. So basically,
don't plug, indeed.
So basically, my thoughts on the Jeezy album are, the first half is like phenomenal to me. Like, it's like Jeezy getting back to his roots, the whole trap rap thing, just like the hard hitting drums and the bass and drummer boys on there, and it's just like, it took me back to like when I first heard Jeezy songs. and like that love that I have for TM101. Now the second half of the album is just basically a snooze fest, and it's trying to like go in different directions and like rehash concepts from the past. Like Akon's on the album. I haven't heard an Akon verse in like 5 years, so that should tell you that something's different. But the song isn't very good, and really about the only track I really like from the last half is the title track, Seen It All, because, well, it's
Jay-Z drops a verse on that.
Jay-Z's verse is by far one of his best verses in probably like 3 or 4 years on that, and Cardo produced it, and so it's a whole different sound, and it's just nice to hear like all of that blend together for a good sound. Overall, though, I wouldn't cop it. Like, it's just, it doesn't have a whole lot of replay value outside of like the first like 5-6 tracks and the title track.
All right.
Would you recommend it?
If you have a friend who happens to have it and they ask if you want a copy of it, maybe, just to add to your collection. But other than that, no. Like, you could probably skip this one.
Word. Matt, go ahead.
All right. I listened to this a little earlier today. I'm only giving it one listen. I kind of want to give it a couple more. The first half of the record actually was, it was all right. I think the record actually picks up a little bit more on the back half, starting with the Akon track. With that being said, one thing I did appreciate about it was, as far as production-wise, it's quite a bit different than previous Jeezy records. There's a lot of progressive rock influences in the production. Also, I mean, Jeezy's lyrics they don't necessarily hold a whole lot of water with me. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that trap style rap, which is probably why I didn't appreciate the first part as much. Because the first half of the record, a lot of it is simply it is that trap style rap, but more importantly, it's about the hustle, and it's encouraging the listener to get their hustle on as well. The second half of the record is a little more storytelling. It does go off in a different direction, and Jeezy actually starts getting, reflective in the second half. It does become almost like an autobiography. He talks about his wins, his losses. I thought track 11, "Win Is a Win," was actually really solid. I hated the track with Game and Rick Ross. I thought that was pretty lame. Beautiful, but for the most part, I actually appreciated to see. He doesn't grow necessarily in construction, but I definitely appreciated seeing Jeezy go off in a slightly different direction where he gets reflective. The first half if you like Jeezy and what Jeezy is and what Jeezy does, you'll probably enjoy the first half, and the first half might get you to the back end of the record where a lot of the really thoughtful material is. If you don't like, if you're expecting just what you've heard off of the last 4 Jeezy records, you're probably going to be turned off by the second half of the record. With that being said, overall, I would give it a cop, but just barely. Like, I have a hard time actually thinking that somebody would pay for this record. It feels more like a mixtape.
Sounds like a cop it on sale, basically.
So like, if you had $10,
cop it in the bargain bin.
Like, if you had $10 and like your choice was like to get a one-topping pizza or the Jeezy album, you would get the one-topping pizza, right?
I would get the one-topping pizza and then just go bump waters in my car.
Word. Gary, what's your opinion on it? Did you get a chance to listen?
Yeah, I listened to it. I've given it one listen so far, so maybe I need to listen to it a bit more. But so far, I mean, I like trap rap, and I find it boring personally. Only the features really stick out for me. So based on that, I'm gonna give it a flop right now. But maybe it will grow on me if I keep listening to it more and more.
It's definitely
the
a drier
production was good though. I like the production.
You know what? The other problem is the good songs aren't long enough, because Black Eskimo, for me, that was one of the highlights, and it's a 2-minute track, and like as soon as it starts getting going, it cuts off.
Yeah, I agree.
With the comment about it kind of gaining a narrative on the tail end of it, maybe I should listen to the second half of the album, and actually I'll probably enjoy that more. But I'll
It's
definitely.
not really a concept album, but he definitely does get more reminiscent, and it's not just trap. It veers off from the trap rap route a little
See,
bit.
I
while
was
still maintaining
expecting
that
a
kind of flow.
concept. I was expecting a concept this time around, just because it was called, the autobiography. But I don't know. I'll give
Did
it
you
a
not see
listen.
Illuminati eye on the cover?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that made me roll. Like my eyes. Just
I don't even
rolled,
think
like,
anybody really cared. Like,
Yeah.
I think they did it to get a reaction, and no one reacted to that at all. It just happened. But let's go ahead and talk about the second project in the Copper Flop. We have Rittz, who is of Strange Music and from Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Which I didn't even realize he was from Atlanta until I started listening to the project. But this is his second album, and I think Joe already has something to say about it.
You know what I just realized? He looks like Blake from Workaholics.
He really does. He really does.
This is Blake.
Hey, who would have known that Blake would be a pretty dope rapper? But
That album cover's terrible, though.
I haven't even. Well, yes, I have. I have seen the album cover. It is pretty bad.
It's him standing next to some like a car, and it just.
Isn't he rap squatting?
It's not worse than Joel Ortiz's, though.
You know,
He's got you there, buddy.
I would argue that the Joel Ortiz record it's at least it's something different. Like,
At least he's
yeah,
comfortable.
dude's standing. Yeah, at least he's comfortable.
You know what though? The Rittz album cover, that kind of reminded me of like something Yellow Wolf would do. Because it's like in front of a big star and stuff.
That was my entire angle on my take of his project, because the first thought I
He
had,
sounds like Yellow Wolf.
not even that. My first thought was, this is the album I never got from Yellow Wolf, because Yellow Wolf, the mixtape 0 to 60 was dope, but everything after that has been pretty subpar, and especially everything since he signed with Shady has been pretty bad. And
well, it's because Machine Gun Kelly been trying to get him out of his own lane.
Pretty much, but and he's garbage in his own way too. But Yellow Wolf is, I mean, he's from here, home state or whatever. So I was definitely pulling for him. I've been following him before the Shady stuff even happened, and that just blew my mind. Like, what was crazy is, like, there was some kind of error at Best Buy where one of the singles he dropped was 25 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that was an error and not like this dude's just garbage. Let's just sell it for 25 cents. But I bought every copy of it and I passed it out to people, and everybody was like, "Who is this? Your homeboy or whatever?" And I'm like, "No." I mean, I was like, "No, this is actually a pretty dope artist." And people listened to it, and then the next week is when that Shady 2.0 thing came out, and like people got behind him. But ever since then, I couldn't really promote it because it's been pretty garbage. Which is sad. I blame Eminem for that. But back to Rittz. The album, I enjoyed it all the way through. There's maybe one or two skippable tracks for me. This is my first time listening to a full project from him. I've heard him on and off, but I've never invested the time to listen to him, and I really enjoy it. I mean, he's sick. Like, his double time is pretty nuts. I would have to say that it's better than Yellow Wolf's because he's saying things that are a little bit more substantial than Yellow Wolf does. Because, people give crap for talking about cars all the time. Yellow Wolf does it too. Like, cars.
But that's the thing. Nobody listens to Yellow Wolf. We all listen to Crit.
This is true. You have a good point. That's why people don't talk about Yellow Wolf anymore.
Bingo.
But there's some surprising tracks on there. Like, I didn't expect to get more personal tracks from Rittz in this one. And the homie Lee, Cleverly Dope on Twitter, he did an album review, and one of the things he said that stood out to me is that it doesn't sound like a Strange Music project. And I have to agree, because they all typically have a very, very dark, borderline horrorcore sound. The only exception being Mayday, but everyone else has that, similar sound, but he really has that southern vibe and production to his system, which I love the production on this album also. It's definitely a recommend, a cop for me. I listened to it on Spotify, but I'm actually going to go buy it from Best Buy because I think it's worth me having in my collection. But I'll let Matt go next.
Sure. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole record. I listened to some one-offs from it. I don't know how I feel about the guy. I'm still a little bit mixed. Like, I hadn't really listened to any of his stuff before. I liked White Rapper. I enjoyed what he said on there. Like nobody will take me seriously because I'm just essentially a white rapper. I thought I agree with what Charles said. His double time is pretty legit.
You know what? His double time reminded me of Twista a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I can see.
And you know what? Question: did y'all get to hear the track with him and Twister?
I was gonna play that
I
next.
heard the one with him and Yellow Wolf.
Golly, it's called Bounce, and it is dope. It is sick as hell. But go ahead, man.
I heard the one with him and Yellow Wolf, and I can't help but draw comparisons between the two of them.
Yeah, I don't even know why they did that collaborative thing. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessarily. Maybe they were they sound kind of sonically similar. Let's put them on a track together. They almost sound too similar. Except Yellow Wolf's garbage, and this guy might actually be worth your con. I can't really say whether or not it's cop or flop because I haven't listened to the whole project. I feel like I probably should sit down with it. But you're also right. Like, it doesn't sound like strange music. Like, I remember I was reading about it earlier, and I saw, strange music. Scary looking white dude. I'm gonna get horrorcore, right? And it's not. It's
nothing like it at all.
It does have a very kind of Atlanta sound to it. Like, it does remind me of the production. At least reminds me of some of the old ATL shit you heard in the '90s from like Dungeon Family and the likes. I do want to have more time, hands-on time with this project. I'll probably bump it a little more, but right now my impressions are okay. I don't know if it's gonna hold my attention. I can't really say either way right now.
Cool. I'm interested to get your perspective once you do get to check it out. We'll mention it next time. Gary, did you get a chance to listen?
Yeah, I listened to most of it. I think there was a few songs I didn't get to listen to because I listened on Spotify and it was set to random, so it was randomly going through the songs and everything. The ones that stood out to me was Lonely, that's my favorite song, White Rapper, and Bounce. I like those three songs. The rest, they were kind of boring to me. I wasn't feeling them that much. I mean, maybe I need to give it another listen. He is a good rapper, and I like when he goes into the storytelling mode and everything. I feel like he's got a real strength there with the storytelling. But aside from that, it's not completely my thing, so I don't know if I'm going to check for him again after this project. But I will give it another listen.
Word, I hear you. And another track that stood out, I forgot to mention, was Crown Royal, which I featured on the playlist, which drops every Monday. Got to throw that plug in there. Playlist, onlycoalition.com. But Crown Royal is a really awesome one. At the end of that track, it's probably one of the more incredible displays of his lyricism. Not the lyricism, just the flow. He blows it away. Like, to close the song out, it's pretty sick. Like, he could, like, I can definitely see what Tech Nine sees in him, and I'm actually kind of surprised that we didn't get like a really fast-paced Tech Nine Rittz cut on the album. So maybe we'll see.
Was there a Tech Nine feature on there somewhere?
I don't think there was one at all, actually.
No, there wasn't. I was going to ask you,
surprised me.
I think that's because he wants him to like shine on his own or something?
I don't know, because every other artist from Tech Nine typically
Tech Nine gets on there somewhere.
Yeah, he gets on there at least once. And this is the first time that I've listened to a Strange Music project since I really heavily started listening where there wasn't one on there. Like, not even... I don't even think there's one on the deluxe edition. I'm checking now. No, there isn't one. Like, I could imagine him jumping on the Twister track with all of them, with the double time flow and all. So I don't know. Maybe the whole not sounding like strange music is a part of the plan, and Tech staying away from it. Maybe they want to diversify their roster.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but
Image-wise, it definitely looks like something that would come out of strange music. Just the way that he presents himself, just kind of the persona. It seems like it fits in well with the strange music. But then when you get into the lyricism and the production, it takes a left turn, a sharp left turn.
yeah, but it's not for the worst at all. It's actually pretty good.
No. It seems I want to get a further listen to it. At least I respect the guy for his craft. Like, he's definitely good at his craft.
Yeah, for sure. Now we can jump into the next topic, and I'm definitely gonna let Joe head start this one. But Rick Ross dropped the new single for his Hood Billionaire album,
Rose!
featuring Project Pat. It is called Elvis Presley Blvd. It's nothing out of the norm as far as Ross goes. But Joe, go ahead, man.
So yeah, I saw this drop on Twitter the other day, and I was like, all right, whatever. It's Rick Ross. Fine, I'll take a listen. But I didn't know Project Pat was on it before I clicked the link. So once I clicked the link, I basically had to listen to it because we need Project Pat verses. Like, we need more Project Pat in our life. So I started listening to it, and I was like, all right, Ross sucks. Like, he's doing nothing to do anything other than the BMF MC Hammer tracks right now. So I was like, all right, let me listen to Project Pat's verse. And Project Pat's verse is awesome. Like, I love, if you follow me on Twitter at JoeHobasMF, you see me, you see me at least once a week, maybe once a month, talking about how we need Project Pat Appreciation Day on Twitter. So, I love Project Pat. And his verse, I'm tempted to download the song and cut off the Ross parts and just keep the Project Pat verse.
I bet there's a version of that already out.
Oh, of course. Hey, if there's Wale less tracks, then there's Rick Ross less tracks.
Well, the most messed up thing is when they took the Slaughterhouse album and cut all of Joe Budden's verses out of the entire thing.
I want to meet that person because they have skill.
They also have a very deep-seated hatred for Joe Budden too. But Matt, you want to speak on it as well?
Yeah, Rick Ross still sucks. He will always suck. This is seventh, going to be a seventh record. I feel like if you've heard one Rick Ross song, you've heard every single Rick Ross song there is. It doesn't change.
It's two.
There's two Rick Ross songs.
Because you got the basically the super hood, terrible him hopping around with his shirt off tracks, and then you have
and then you got the sexy Rick Ross, right? When he's talking to the ladies and shit.
Oh, there's a third.
There's the backpack Rick Ross where he raps about introspective shit.
When does that come?
When does that happen?
That was before Teflon Don.
See, I never heard that, Ross.
I honestly feel like Rick Ross is too fat to get a backpack on.
Circle against the square.
Oh god.
That was cold.
But yeah, the album, when he does tracks with Christette Michele and those kind of songs, that's the third Rick Ross song.
Okay, so
I grew up with
this
the Maybach musical, not the label, but the songs, the specific songs. Yeah, I grew with
Maybach music. Oh, before we continue, you guys should play the Maybach music drinking game. And if you take a shot every time you hear the Maybach music drop, if you don't die, you win.
I'm not trying to play
die,
that.
you win. I will say Project Pat. I was gonna say Project Pat's verse does make it comes in and saves the track until Ross gets back on it. I don't think Project Pat is a great rapper. He's good. And that's might be a stretch, but he comes on there and just looks like a rap god compared to Rick Ross.
He's the tallest midget on the track.
He's the tallest midget on the track. He probably can get a backpack on.
Yes, he can. I think he can get a backpack on. Gary, your thoughts on your best friend Ricky?
Nah, he ain't my best friend, man. But um, as for the song, it was terrible. When I first heard the hook and everything, I thought it was going somewhere conceptually, but it didn't. And
Did you? Because the hook was awful.
Oh,
yeah,
it's so bad.
yeah, and Project Pat did steal the show. Like he stole the song completely. And also, Rick Ross should never take off his shirt in a video. Like we don't want to see his
Ever
chest.
again.
I don't even think
I
he
will say
wears shirts anymore, guys.
Rick Ross committed a cardinal sin with that one, and he let another MC outshine him on his own track, which isn't really hard, which is probably why he usually has garbage features, so he's still the best one on there. But that's like one of the cardinal sins. You don't let somebody outshine you on your own track. So maybe you shouldn't have Project Pat on your album.
You know what? Is because I actually started writing something like that, and I just lost motivation for it. But this is gonna make me like finish it tonight. I started writing about how Rick Ross is only becoming a feature-only rapper. Like I can only take his verses if they're on a feature, or if they're like a joint, like whatever, like a whole bunch of features on his album or something, and he only does one verse. Because he's mundane now. Like his verse on the Chris Brown and Usher song, like I loved it, and it's because it was only 16 bars of Rick Ross, and that was it.
Yeah, you know what Ross song I like? I like the one with Kanye West on the
Sanctified.
I forget the name of that album.
Off of Mastermind.
No, not that one. Man, I can't even remember the name. It was on Kanye's fourth album, I think.
Oh, you're talking about Monster?
Devil in a New Dress.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, his verse on there was ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, matter of fact, I know I talked with Joe about this. That was the first time that I even thought Ross had a dope rap bone in his body, because I didn't listen to him before that at all. So maybe the other singles that come from this will be a significant improvement, or he'll go the Wayne route and start getting some ghostwriters going, because I think he's at that point in his career.
He's definitely at that point in his career. Like he has nothing else to rap about.
Wait, Rick Ross has a career?
Hey, Maybach music makes money, man. It's somebody's buying this stuff. Like he's marketable to someone. But speaking of singles, Kendrick Lamar has dropped the cover art for his new single entitled "I." To give a description of that art, which we'll include in the post when we drop the podcast. It looks like you have two guys facing each other, making a heart out of their hands. My description is not going to paint the best picture of this at all. But
why don't we just leave it and let them look at the picture?
Yeah, just look at the picture, because I think the cover art is pretty awesome. But on this has been something that a lot of people have been waiting for, is Kendrick's follow-up to Good Kid, Mad City, because that is an incredible album. So you guys, do you think this is a good time for Kendrick to drop? You think it's too soon, too late, perfect timing? We'll start with Gary.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to start dropping new music, because the first album was dope, and we've been waiting for more Kendrick. Say what?
That was his second. Good Kid, Mad City was his second.
Oh yeah, his second. Yeah, my bad.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's time for new music, because he hasn't really dropped much this year. So I'm looking forward to more Kendrick.
With the end of the year, it looks like we're gonna get a Kanye album, a Eminem album.
Okay. No, burn it with fire. Kill it with fire.
Lupe Fiasco album. Nas may drop one this winter. With those guys, do you think it's kind of like a lot of traffic, or do you think Kendrick can basically operate without having to care about that?
Yeah, I think he can still do his thing. I mean, he has a big audience of his own, and the fact that he hasn't, flooded the market and stayed in people's faces all year, I feel like people are looking forward to hearing more of Kendrick. And if he manages to have a few collaborations with these other artists, that will also help him. So
True that. Go ahead, Joe.
Um, I think I think he has his own lane of fans because like Troy Ave said, like we're weirdos or he's a weirdo rapper. Um, so he has like his own little cult following and stuff. So I think that no matter what, like Kendrick's gonna sell. I mean, he'll probably do six figures this first week. Um, I just think I don't know. I don't know if they should have released it. I think they should have released the single a little bit earlier though, because if you remember Good Kid, Mad City, like they dropped swimming pools in July. I think it was like the end of July or something like that, and that gained momentum like all summer. And then it had people ready for the album. Like if they're dropping the single, like within like the next 2 weeks, I think it's like the 20, something whatever. Um, like I think it's just too short of time unless they're gonna like put the album out like right before Christmas.
It is possible that they do that. Like with them
Lamar
trying.
didn't have the same kind of hype then, though, either. Like, people know who Lamar is. People didn't necessarily know who Lamar was when Swimming Pools dropped. He doesn't necessarily need that big of a lead up.
That's true.
I don't know. I think to grab like a bigger audience, he does though, because like people know who he is, but there's still people out there who only know him from like his Robin Thicke verse on Top 40 radio.
Good.
Right.
Yeah, I feel sorry for those people if that's the only way that they know him.
so do you think his aim now is to get growth and grow even bigger than he already is?
I think it should be. I definitely think it should be with this being his second one on Interscope.
I don't think that whatever, like the targeting of growth, I don't think that'll affect what he's going to put out with this next album, though. I think he's going to continue to tell a story. If you think about it, the first, like Section 80 got him buzz in the smallest sense. I think he reached for that growth with Good Kid, Mad City. Like, it's just that the singles fit the narrative well for his project, which when that album came out, I was like, I applaud him for that because there are a lot of artists that can't mix those things. They can't get their message across and appeal to the mainstream.
I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know a lot of people that when Swimming Pools came out, they thought it was a fucking party track.
Exactly.
They thought it was just a club track, and Swimming Pools is anything but. Like, it's on a club beat. It has a club style chant hook, but that's anything but a club track. Like, it's not. Like, I know so many people that if you didn't pay attention to it, you thought he was encouraging you to go drink, when in reality he was talking about his personal struggles and problems with alcohol.
Like I felt bad. Like anytime like that came on when I was like out drinking,
in the club.
I felt bad. Yeah, like I felt bad for like taking shots
to me. Yeah, that happened a few times to me. Like, I'm like, why? This is the worst possible song you can play in a club. Like this.
Because it hit on both levels though. The people that listen to it, on a deep level, got the meaning and they enjoyed it, and then the people that don't listen to it, they just quote unquote Jay-Z skim through it. They enjoyed it as well, and I don't think like in thinking of Ab-Soul's record, like his was an obvious grab for an audience, even though they tried to treat it as a satire of the artists that have that audience already. It just didn't come over as well. I don't think Kendrick will have that problem.
I honestly think the timing's pretty perfect. It's been about 2 years since Good Kid came out, and that's a 24-month cycle is pretty great. Is pretty right on cue for what an artist should probably aim for. Enough so that we're talking about it. We're wondering when he's going to release new tracks, but he hasn't been out of the spotlight so long that we don't care anymore. So I'm actually really excited for this.
I don't mind the timing of a project being announced or coming out. My issue is actually with which project. I think that the J. Cole and Kendrick album should be dropping right now as opposed to the Kendrick solo joint. Even if they were going to make that album and not a mixtape as originally intended, I think that the timing would have been good to have a collaboration from both of them. And Kendrick's second album could have, he could have spent more time on it, basically. And this could have, gotten the buzz back up beyond the features that he's done. But other than that, maybe I'm just biased because I've heard the songs, like a couple of the songs off of the J. Cole and Kendrick thing, and I'm tired of waiting for them. They're really awesome, and I just need them to drop. Joe, have you listened to any of them at all?
No, I didn't know some of those existed.
Yeah, he performed one at this meet and greet in Compton, which it's BJ the Chicago Kid and him and J. Cole. It is so good. It is so good. And then two more leaked, or J. Cole played when he was streaming something, I think, when he was like making a beat on there. I don't know, something like that. But those two were pretty cool as well. I just need the project before it just disappears.
But here's the other thing. So TDE promised 6 projects this year. Kendrick's 5 and J-Rock it made 6. But are we going to get a J-Rock album like after Kendrick's? Because nobody's going to care about that J-Rock album if Kendrick drops first.
You're right. Which is why I thought Kendrick would go last out of this whole thing. But clearly not. And J-Rock he's been pretty quiet other than the features.
When's the release date for this?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, they just
no
dropped
announcement.
this cover art, and that was it.
Yeah.
So it's still possible the J-Rock record might come first in release, even though it's been announced. It will be announced later. Like they might just be trying to build up hype.
And you know what? If they do J-Rock's album like they did Absol's album, like TDE might be going downhill.
That'd be really sad because J-Rock has an audience like outside of all the TDE guys. He had an audience outside of TDE before they blew up because he was on Strange Music. Like it may not have been a huge audience, but it was there. And I think that I listened to his album and it's actually really good. I think he has another dope album in him for sure, and that he should get definitely more of a media advertising push than Absol's album got for sure. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But you're right, Matt. He could drop before Kendrick drops. Like Kendrick could have him on a single, I guess, or something like that, or he could feature Kendrick on one of his singles for the project,
right?
Something like that, maybe. But we shall see for sure.
What do you think the likelihood of this record being as good or on the same caliber as Good Kid is? Do you think he still has more to say? Oftentimes artists drop off after their sophomore.
But a lot of people compared Kendrick's Good Kid to Outkast, to like when Outkast came out. So
Okay.
if that's any indication, Outkast only got stronger and stronger and stronger with each album. So if that's the case, then possibly this could be a stronger album than Good Kid. But I mean, we haven't heard anything. I mean, it's so like up in the air right now.
Yeah, it's so tough to judge because you haven't had like anything completely outstanding from Kendrick other than the Control verse, and you haven't had a drop off in his lyricism and the features that he's had. So like, my hope is that it's an improvement, or it's either as good or better. But even if it's a step back, how bad is that by Kendrick standards, though?
I don't know. I mean, look at Absol's step back.
Man, Absol like shmoney dance back. Like he moonwalked back.
Shmoney dance.
Like he ran back, and I don't know. Because like Schoolboy Q, even I feel like that album was a step back in certain ways, but it's nowhere near as bad as Absol's. But I don't think Kendrick is gonna fall off in that way after his sophomore project.
I hope not, because I really liked Good Kid, Mad City.
What about you, Gary? Do you think he'll fall off?
Not at all. I think Kendrick is pretty consistent, and he's more consistent than somebody like Drake, for example. I mean, Drake, even though the ladies love him and everything, I feel like he's hit or miss. And I acknowledge that Drake, he's a great rapper. You know, he's a really good rapper. But as far as his consistency with music, you know, I just don't feel like it's there. But Kendrick, you know, from what I've heard, he's always, you know, he's consistent and he's always putting out something decent at least. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good project.
Every time I see Drake, I still wonder why he's not sitting in a wheelchair playing basketball.
You know what? Like, I would actually have to disagree. I think Drake's been like really consistent since Nothing Was the Same dropped.
Well, I think Gary's perspective, he probably doesn't really like the other side of Drake that has become his main side, basically the super sappy singing one.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Drake as an R&B artist like that, I guess. So.
I still just have such a hard time separating him from fucking Degrassi. Like, I really do. Like, I can't get into Drake because I'm like, this dude was on Degrassi for a long time.
Like, I had no clue what Degrassi was. Like, I had no clue he was.
You haven't watched Degrassi?
No, like I never watched that, like ever.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I've never heard of it until Drake.
Yeah,
it's a Canadian soap opera.
Yeah, I watched it a little bit.
I like how Charles admits it though.
No, like I did see it a few times. Like no joke, I watched it.
You said a decent amount, which means you have watched a decent amount of more than you want to admit, huh?
No, if you group the episodes together that I've seen, you may be able to get like almost a season out of it.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's like 20 episodes. You watched Degrassi.
Like 20 episodes? I wasn't even thinking like that. No, then it would have to be like half a season.
Yo, how many seasons does it have?
Of that iteration with that cast, like with Drake in it, probably like 5 seasons, something like that. A decent amount. He ends up getting paralyzed, and he plays basketball, and
those are the only episodes that stood out to me. Were the ones where he was shot.
He gets shot.
And there's an episode where he tries to rap too. In that episode, which was he did a good job, and I guess he just ran with it. I don't know if he was doing music behind the scenes before that or not, and they just brought it into the show. But he did a pretty good job of it. But with Drake, I think he's a good entertainer. He has a firm grasp on what the people that are buying his albums want for the most part, because people like me that were on his hip hop stuff back when he was collaborating with like Elza Fonte and people like that, I'm not the one. I'm not the group of people buying his album now. Like it's all about the girls love Beyonce and all that stuff. That's what he's gonna appeal to. You know, get your money, bro. You're just not gonna get mine. Simple as that.
Fair enough.
Word. But let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, which Joe has to be very excited for.
Trapped out the bando.
Migos. It is Migos that did this, right?
Yes, it's Migos.
And it's called Bando the Musical, right?
Bando the Musical. Oh my God,
Migos,
it's so great.
I'm still pure when it comes to Migos. I haven't listened to them yet.
At least you don't call them the Migos. Because I don't know if you guys saw, but apparently the Tennessee Titans played Fight Night, and there was like a remix to it. It has like Rick Ross and Yo Gotti on it and stuff, I guess. And they got scrutinized for it with all like the domestic violence going on in the NFL because there's some suggestive lyrics on the chorus.
Right.
And so it made CNN, and they called them the Migos on national television.
No, I can't blame them for being uninformed. But yeah, Migos did Bando the Musical. Which
okay.
If you let Twitter tell it, it's like the best thing to happen in forever. But
so Bando the Musical is basically 20 minutes of Migos doing 4 videos, all right, and it's all put together to tell a story of like where they came from to like where they are now. And it's just, it has like 4 of their songs. I think 2 of them are from No Label 2, which is their recent project. And then 2 of them are from Young Rich in word that I'm not allowed to say. But like just the way it's constructed, like it's cool. It's like cool to see it, like because I didn't know much about Migos outside of like from Drake last year when he did the Versace remix. And I was like, you know what? No, this isn't for me. Blah blah blah. And 6 months later, I was listening to Migos. So like I dig their music, and it was kind of cool to see like where they came from and what inspired them to get to where they are now. So that's basically what Bando the musical is. It's just 4 music videos put together.
So it's like 20 minutes.
Yep, it's about 17 minutes or something like that.
All right, I'll check it out.
I'll watch it, man. We'll get some reactions for the next KOTT.
I mean, if you guys don't like trap rap, you guys aren't gonna like it.
If it's entertaining, I'll enjoy it. That's the foundation of all of it. If it's entertaining, I'll enjoy it. Like Young Thug, still to this day, I can't get into Young Thug, man. Like, except for that track with T.I. That's it.
Yeah, see, I like T.I. I can't stand a lot of the other ones, but I really like T.I. I always have.
Yeah. But so you Bando the musical, you recommend for sure.
I recommend it. Like if it was like a VHS, like I would keep it, and like I wouldn't return it to Blockbuster.
Not even DVD or Blu-ray. Now you want VHS. Like
VHS.
you want to rewind that bad boy manual.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get some impressions on Bando the musical next time around. Hey, Gary, have you listened to Migos at all?
No, I haven't.
Gotcha.
Should I?
We're going for it. I don't know.
You're in for a treat.
A treat or a learning experience, one or the other. So we'll get into that next time. But the next topic, Grindtimenow, one of the I can't even say major battle leagues now. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, but they're one of the big battle leagues. And they've started an official ranking system via the head of Grind Time, Mad Ills. If you didn't know, the battle leagues are structured very loosely in who gets like the number one contender matchups, but Mad Ills is trying to put that structure in the public eye and actually have a legit means of ranking everyone. I won't list the people ranked on it yet because most of those guys you don't even know. I don't even know, and I'm a big fan of battle rap. But for URL and King of the Dot, my question is, should other leagues adopt this and actually have official rankings for their artists? We will start with Gary on that one because Matt and Joe won't have so much insight. But Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't see this ranking thing working with the other leagues because the thing is, the people who battle on those leagues, their egos are too big, and this ranking, it kind of relies on judged battles and everything like that, and leagues like URL and King of the Dot, they rely on money. Like the battle rappers, they want to get paid. They want they don't want to take lesser people that they think that they don't need to battle and stuff like that. So I don't think this league structure will work at other leagues, but for Grind Time, this could be something good for where they're at right now because, after Lush won and what's the other dude's name? I can't remember right now, but yeah, after those dudes left Grind Time, it kind of fell off. Like Mad Ills, he's doing a terrible job, and there's not really any big names on Grind Time anymore, so this works right now. This is something that could bring them back to where they used to be because people will pay attention if there's a league, and it will create conversation. It will create hunger, competition. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see how this works out on Grind Time, but I don't think it would work on the other leagues.
Gotcha. There's on that list, there is AQP on there. I don't know which one it is though.
That's QP Innuendo. That's the one from he used to be in Sons, Conceited's crew.
Okay, I know that QP. That's actually one of the first people that I followed a little heavy.
Yeah.
When I started watching battle rap, yeah, he's dope. He kind of gets into he goes over heads a lot and like on purpose. Like he tries to come up with the most absolutely ridiculous schemes, and they're not so ridiculous to the point that they're like clever and you're like, oh, that was awesome. You're really scratching your head and you're like, why did you even say that? Like, why did you reach that far? But if he tones it down a little bit, he's actually pretty dope. His battle QP versus QP, which is the last one I saw with him, was really
that was
dope.
a good battle.
It's a really good battle. But I think that this would hurt the money for other groups, like with King of the Dot and URL, because with that ranking system, I'm sure that there's going to be a pay bracket set up in a way where if not ranked so much, then you can't really do that, which that's hard to gauge when you have them going up against people from other leagues, because I guess with Grind Time, they're really only battling each other at this point. But URL, it always crosses, a lot of those guys cross over into other leagues, even other than King of the Dot, like Guerrilla Warfare and Arsenal's league and all that. So I think it would hurt the money for them, but you're right. For Grind Time, maybe that's good for them because they need some kind of publicity.
Yeah.
Because
the thing is, like, Arsenal recently, he was supposed to battle on Summer Madness. He was supposed to battle Ill Will, but all of a sudden he's like, no, I don't want to battle him because he doesn't deserve my time, and I have other battles I'm preparing for, stuff like that. And so these guys, they chase the money, and they don't like to take risks or take people that are not on their level. So it just wouldn't work at all in URL because their egos are too big and they chase the money.
True that. Joe or Matt, did y'all have any insight or any words to speak on this?
Sure. I mean, we've seen in things like MMA and boxing that you can have a ranking system and still make, be enticing enough with the money to bring in talent and have talent stay. I guess what it comes down to is how well it works for this particular league, if others will adopt it. If it works here, others may, and especially if it brings in new people listening, new people watching, I wouldn't be surprised if other leagues attempt to adopt it, and if it's successful for one, it's possible it's successful for all of them.
True that.
People tend to follow the leader, right?
That's true. It's going to be tough. Another thing that I think will hinder that kind of thing being adopted is that sometimes you get really good matchups style-wise that don't translate to their levels within the different rap leagues. Like, you'll get the two, super humorous guys. Like, Uno Lavos is one of the guys that I follow a lot, and he doesn't really do the super aggressive stuff that you see on the top tiers of rap battle. He is there purely for entertainment. And to have a person like that ranked really low, I think would be a poor representation of his value to the league, basically. So that's just one of the pitfalls I see in this ranking system. But
yeah, and you'll also see a lot of matches that maybe you don't even want to see, and it's purely based on the rank. So it could hurt the quality of the battles that come out.
True that. We'll see what happens, man. I wonder if they're going to actually schedule an event with the current ranking system, because they don't have a number one also. So they need to have some kind of system set up or match set up so they can get a number one and switch things around. But let's go ahead and move into the final topic, which is a very, very good one to end it with, in my opinion.
Is it really though?
I would say so.
Is it really though?
You can hate if you want, Mr. Bando. But if you didn't know, DJ Premier and Royce da 5'9" have teased their collaborative project via a trailer on YouTube. We'll include that in the post. Royce has hinted at this over time, like the past couple years, but I always thought that it would be just pretty much like vaporware with games. Talk about it, never happened. And now we have it. He actually drops a verse over Primo beat, and it looks like it's real. It's going to happen. Like, it's certainly more real than Jay Electronica's next album. So, are you guys excited for this? Like, how do y'all feel about Premier and Royce? Since Joe may not be very excited, I'm going to put the spotlight on him first.
DJ Premier's cool, but like it's like Ninth Wonder. All of his beats start to sound the same at some point. Like they're all just loops, and it gets annoying after a while. So I don't know. I may check it out just because I like Royce, but I mean, I'll definitely probably skip this unless it's like some mandatory copper flop that we listen to or something. Like I just don't.
Let me go ahead and make a note. That is definitely going to be a mandatory copper flop.
Like I just feel like it's just I don't know. It's just past Premier's prime, I guess.
I don't know if I can agree with you on that one. How about you, Matt?
Meh. I mean, I like Premier's style. I enjoy his production. Not a huge 5'9" fan. And in that trailer, he says at some point he makes a reference to like 1994, like the year. He's on some 1994 shit. And I wish people would get off that 1994 shit because 1994 was great. There was a lot of great hip hop in that year and around that year. But I'm over it, man. Like I'm sick of it. I don't be progressive, and this album doesn't seem like as Joe said, Premier's kind of. He's past his prime, right? He is 1994.
Joey Badass.
Stop it. We're not doing that today.
I'll listen to the record. I'm not necessarily going to get on no hype wagon for it, though.
I am perfectly fine with it being stuck in 94. Like,
really?
For this being just like kind of a dream collaboration for me, I am perfectly fine with it. I think it'll be really, really good. How about you, Gary?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this for a long time, man. Primo is one of my favorite producers of all time. I used to be a huge Royce fan, but I feel like he kind of fell off, the past few years. And he gets outshined a lot on Slaughterhouse now. But I'm still looking forward to the project, and I feel like, Premier could probably bring the best out of Royce. And, that song Hip Hop is one of my favorite songs of all time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Dope. Very, very dope track. Hip Hop is nuts. And like you, I was a fan of Royce. I don't think he's been getting outshined as much. I think they kind of split the shine amongst them. Because, like, every few songs, somebody gets washed on there. Even though I think they do fairly well for the most part. But his album... I can't remember what it was called, but he had a Primo track on there, and it was super dope. Like, his solo albums, I really enjoy. So this one I'm definitely looking forward to.
Like, if it sounds anything like hip hop and Boom, like, you can keep it because those tracks are like 15 years old now. I don't want to hear that. If I want to hear those, I'll just go listen to them.
That's how I feel. If I want to hear 1994 and records that sound like 1994, I'll just go back and listen to those. Like, I don't need it again.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'll listen to it, man.
And I hope it surprises you guys.
I hope it does too, but I'm certainly not. I'm not gonna. And actually, it's probably better that I have this attitude because then when it comes out and it actually, if it ends up being really, really good, then I'll be all excited about it because I wasn't expecting it to be good. Have no expectations and you won't be disappointed.
This is true. That's the moniker I have to have at Lupe Fiasco. So.
See, and I like Lupe. I'm more excited for the Lupe album.
Speaking of Lupe, let's turn the spotlight on Charles because Lupe just dropped a new song today.
Oh, did he? I haven't heard it yet.
I refuse to listen to Lupe now.
Tell him the name of the song, Joe.
What's the name of the song? What's it called?
It's called Pussy. And it has dollar signs as the S's.
Alright, fuck you, Lupe. I'm done. Done. No, I'll go listen to it, but I'm sure, is he trying to be like tongue in cheek? Like, is
No.
he trying to say something? No, is it really just
With the
is he-
title?
is he-
With the title, no, he's not being tongue in cheek with that. The hook is so bad. Oh my goodness, the hook is
I'll go
so
listen to
bad.
it after this. So
But
Lupe's had some really thoughtful stuff in the past. This is not it. This is a song about pussy called Pussy with dollar signs.
No. Wait, let me finish. I'll tell you my exact tweet. As a matter of fact, I said right after listening to the song, I said, why do we have to deal with so much to hear? Basically, why do we have to deal with so much just to hear dope rhymes from Lupe? In parentheses, whack beat, terrible hook, etc. Because the verses are dope on the song. The second one standing out significantly for his flow and just in the lyricism's there. And I mean, of course, with Lupe, like always, you got to listen to it more than once to get the full grasp of it. And he's saying some dope things in those verses, but why does it have to be encased in crap? Like, that's how I feel about the last few songs that we've gotten from Lupe. Like, I don't know if he's trying to I think
Last
he's
song I
trying to
really
do
liked
with
from him-
what we were just talking about. What Kendrick can do. I think Lupe's trying to do it, but he can't.
Last song I really liked from Kendrick was "Bitch Bad." Like, I thought that was such an amazing song. Hook, everything.
Yep.
I thought the album ended up being kind of but and maybe that's how I feel about this. Is the hook will be kind of but the lyricism will still be there. I don't know. He should have stopped after the Cool. He originally said he only had 3 records. He originally said he only had 3 records in him, right? And then he didn't realize that little caveat that he signed on his record deal that said he had to do 5. Like that's why he was still making records, is because he didn't want to do more than 3.
If that's the case, then his 3 are Food and Liquor, The Cool, and the mixtape right after The Cool.
Well, mixtapes don't count.
Yeah, they don't count.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about like good content.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Wasn't his 3rd technical record? Wasn't it called Lasers? I think.
Yes. Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't that great.
Nope, it sure wasn't. Food and Liquor 2, also not that great.
Yeah, not that good on that one either. But Food and Liquor and The Cool were pretty solid records.
And if we're being real, like Food and Liquor, like the leak, like before
it was almost a whole nother album, and it was great too. And the mixtapes have been great, except for one. Like the Fahrenheit mixtapes are great. The Friend of the People, I think that one was.
That was the one where they split over like Radiohead and stuff. Or Enemy of the State.
Enemy of the State was good. Friend of the People was not as good. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good. But yeah, that's his new song. That is it. For some reason, and this happens every single time with Lupe, I somehow end up having hope every single time, and it's painful every time too.
Oh my God! I just got an idea for a writing topic from this.
Uh-oh.
Because Lupe Fiasco is like the Chicago Cubs.
And that's perfect for him. You know what? When you write that, let me know.
I will, because I'm going to start it tonight.
God, that's going to be a good one there. Are you going to run it on Jehovah?
No.
All right.
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet. I just got the idea. Like you said that, like you put your hope in him every time. I'm just like, oh my God, that's the Chicago Cubs. Cool. He's a lovable loser now.
Definitely
a good way to put it. Let me know when you write that, man.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. All right. Anyone have final words? Let me wrap this up before I start crying.
Yeah, send me battle rap links, because I've really got to get into this shit.
Dude, I will supply you.
Show me where to start, man.
There's so many I could send you, man. Like,
just show me where to, because I don't even know where to dive in. Like, I don't really know where to get my footing in. So, send me. You got my Skype. Send me some info.
Yeah, we'll do the same thing we did with Joe the first couple weeks, where we sent him a battle and got him to speak on it on the next show.
Yeah, you're talking to the plugs of battle rap.
For sure. We got you, bro. But yeah, we'll get a nice little playlist together for you of some good stuff, the serious stuff and the comedy and all that. But so that was your last word, Matt.
Yeah, I really don't got nothing else to say.
All right, except for drink ginger ale and water.
Yeah, drink ginger ale, drink more water. Go download that mixtape. Download his other mixtapes. Check out No Name Gypsy if you haven't heard her. That lady is amazing.
Yeah, our end of the year list is gonna have Chicago all over it. So be ready.
Yeah, well, you and I were talking about that like the other day. I'm like, be honest. How many of your year end are gonna be Chicago MCs?
Seriously, got 3.
What exactly is going? I have no idea what's going on over there. But in the last 2 years, the scene over there is insane.
Yeah. Last word, Joe.
Free Gucci Mane as always, even though he just got another 3-year sentence tacked onto the one he's serving right now. So we're gonna get a whole bunch of more Gucci Mane mixtapes in like the next 3 days.
You know what? If him staying in jail is why we keep getting more music, then my final word is free Gucci Mane too. Somebody let him out of jail.
Drink more water, like Mick Jenkins said. That's literally the only project I keep going back to since I listened to it. It's phenomenal. I listen to it every day now.
Yeah, me too. You are not the only one who has heard that album at least once a day.
Yeah,
the whole thing, start to finish.
And I think that's it. Actually, I do need to send a shout out. I'm in this group, this Hip Hop Bloggers United group, and it's sad to say, but one of our members passed away today, just unexpectedly. So R.I.P. Proverb.
Oh man, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace.
Hey, last word, Gary.
Speaking of battle rap, a battle just dropped actually with Uno Lavos. It's his debut URL battle on the Proven Battle.
Snap!
So yeah,
Snap!
I'm about to watch that right after this show actually. He's battling J Law, which I'm not that familiar with, but I've heard the name before. So
gotcha.
Yeah, I'm about to watch that real quick. And
yo, isn't it 3 a.m. where you're at, Gary?
Say that again.
Isn't it 3 a.m.?
It's about to be 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
But that's how dope it is with this rap battle stuff, man. That's why you gotta watch it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, send me links. I'll watch it. I always watch what you send me, so.
Cool. I'm not gonna get you to start with Uno Lavos though. You gotta be worked in.
It's not the right battle to start with.
No, he's awesome. I mentioned before, he's the comedy. He's the comedian of rap battle, and I love it. It's
I used to watch a lot of Scribble Jam and shit back in the day, stuff like that.
So there'll be guys that you recognize then. At least one.
Thesaurus, Ilmac.
Yeah. So
I loved when Idea was doing battle rap.
Oh,
you
man.
remember Idea? R.I.P. Idea.
Yeah.
Their first record, E&A, and then the last one I did, the title is slipping me right now, but those were both great.
Absolutely. I actually need to go back and listen to Idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
I just went back and listened to E&A, not but a couple weeks ago. And I lied, that was technically their second record because they had Firstborn before that.
Gotcha.
But that was one of my introductions to independent hip hop was Idea and Ability's E&A.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Definitely gonna do that, and I gotta listen to A$AP Rock also. But
yeah,
my
you
last
still
word.
have not gotten into A$AP Rock. Go listen to Labor Days.
Will do. I'm going to do that tonight. But my last word is a plug, of course. Make sure that you listen to the playlist, which drops on thecoalition.com every single Monday. We've got dope stuff on there. I think. What did I put? I didn't put what is it called? Dang it. Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels dropped a new single. I think I put it on there, or I'm gonna put it on the next one. But their project comes out in October, and I'm looking forward to that at the end of October. Yeah, Run the Jewels is dope. But
Killer Mike's so dope. I'm so glad he's getting shine now.
Yes, man, it is a beautiful thing. But yeah, the playlist, we put some new up and coming artists on there. We put some old heads on there. We put it all, as long as it's dope. So be sure to check that out. This has been episode 7 of the Knights of the Turntable, the definitive hip hop podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. And I'm totally throwing up the deuce.